Well, hello yogis. Welcome to practice. Welcome to my living room studio as I guide us through a requested Ashtanga primary series. So thank you, Joel, for requesting this series. I am very excited to dive back into this practice. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Ashtanga primary series, I thought I would chat with you a little bit about it first, as Ashtanga is an older lineage of yoga where there is a set sequence, a primary, a secondary, and a tertiary series that can be practiced. But we are doing the primary series today. If I were to translate it to a different format class at Hapa, I would say that this is a Vinyasa level 3 class. One of the first notes that I wrote down to even tell you is Chaturanga City is what I wrote down. I think we take about 40 to 45 sun salutations or chaturanga flows through practice. And so keeping that in mind, there are going to be tons of ways for you to modify throughout practice today, and you will be seeing me doing so absolutely. I do have a bit of Ashtanga experience. When I first started practicing yoga, really rigorous asana based yoga was at an Ashtanga studio in Hillcrest. If anyone had ever practiced, perhaps you know, at the Namaste Pacific was this name of a little hole in the wall Ashtanga studio where I got to learn the Mysore style practice. Now, Mysore is a city in India, but it is also the name of this ritual where you join all of your other yogis who have memorized this set sequence, and without the teacher cueing the class, everyone independently guides themselves through their own primary series together. And the teacher oversees as you practice in this Mysore style. So when I first learned this practice, I was given one pose at a time. You first start with 5 sun A's and 3 sun B's, and then we dive into poses that were handed to me maybe once a week. I would get a pose, and then a couple weeks would go by, and my teacher would hand me down the next step in the sequence. So I wanted to share with you my reference materials for today, as I am not an Ashtanga certified teacher. However, I am a Vinyasa and Hatha certified instructor, and they really just come from the same tree, right? I give credit where credit is due, and this is the reference text that I have used for years. This is David Swenson's Ashtanga practice, his practice manual. I love that it is spiralized because I can keep it flat and open, and I used this all the time when we were traveling on the road. I didn't have internet, I didn't have reception, and I needed some accountability. So I will be having my reference materials here at the top of the mat when we get started. And let's see, changed my life. I have that written down. Thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia is my teacher who handed down the lineage to me. And so I truly believe in this life-changing practice, as it really does detoxify the body. And you sweat out some things that you didn't even know that you needed to sweat out. When you start this practice, everyone comes to standing. You Om. You say a beautiful chant, an opening prayer, another Om, and then you practice. And there is also a closing chant. And so I wanted to offer today the English variation of the chant to give your intention for practice today. Perhaps this is your first time practicing Ashtanga, so thank you so much for practicing with me. So cool. I hope I do you justice. And if you are a longtime practitioner of Ashtanga, then I hope that this is a familiar feeling as you take your Mysore practice, your primary series, to your home. So let's go ahead and start by grounding into our space. You can go ahead and come on up to standing. I will join you there. Tadasana, mountain pose. We start class today with an Om. Breathe in. Om. I bow to the lotus feet of the gurus. The awakening happiness of one's own self revealed, beyond better, acting like the jungle physician, pacifying delusion, the poisonous snake of samsara. Taking the form of 1,000 radiant white heads, holding the conch of divine sound, a discus of infinite time, and a sword for discrimination. To Patanjali I bow. Breathe in. We settle in for success. Start in mountain pose at the top of your mat. Our sun salutation works through the count of 10, so go ahead and join me as you have many ways to learn your sun salutation today. Breath in, arms sweep overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breath is in. Folding, plant the palms, step back, high to low plank. Exhale. Upward facing dog, take a breath in. Downward facing dog, we hold for 5 rounds of breath. Your first down dog today, big bend in the knees. Ujjayi pranayama. Breathe in and out through the nose. Look, step to the top of the mat. Breathe in. Fold forward. Exhale. Arms sweep overhead. Urdhva Hastasana. Hands by the sides. Samastitihi. Breath in. Arms up. Exhale. Swan dive. Halfway lift. Inhale. Plant the palms, low plank, breathe out. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, 5 rounds of breath. Look, step, top of the mat, breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold. Arms sweep overhead, extended mountain. Hands by the sides, breathe out. Inhale, number 1. Exhale, 2. Inhale, 3. Exhale, 4. Inhale, 5. Exhale, 6. And hold. Last round of breath in downward facing dog. Number 7, halfway lift to the top of the mat. Number 8, forward fold. 9, arms sweep overhead. 10, hands by the sides. 1, mountain. 2, fold. 3, lift. 4, plank. 5, up dog. 6, down dog. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out. 7. Look to the top of the mat. Exhale. 8. Forward fold. Inhale. 9. Arms overhead. Hands by the sides. 10. Guide yourself through this one. Down dogs, you must use your pinkies, you must use your thumbs. Suck in your belly button. Think belly button touching your spine, reel them in tight. Drive the heels down to the floor, look towards your belly button. Breathe out. Top of the mat we go. Sun B, arms sweep overhead, chair pose, exhale. Breath in, straighten the legs, exhale, fold. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, breathe out. Right foot leads, step your right foot through between the hands. Warrior 1, arms sweep overhead, palms to touch. Exhale, hands to the mat, we flow. Step the foot back, breathe in. High to low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward dog, exhale. Left leg leads, step through between the hands. Warrior 1, breathe in. Release, exhale, step back, breathe in. High to low plank, exhale. Up dog, breathe in. Down dog, 5 rounds of breath. This is our sun salutation B. Top of the mat we go. Find your forward fold. On your exhale, arms sweep overhead, breathe in, sink low into your chair. 3, 2, and 1, hands by the sides. Arms overhead, chair pose, sink nice and low. Take a breath in, straighten the legs, fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Palms plant, high to low plank, breathe out. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, exhale. Right leg leads, step through. Warrior 1, arms overhead. Breath out, hands down to the floor. Right foot steps back, breathe in. High to low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, exhale. Left leg leads, step through between the hands. Warrior one, arms overhead, palms to touch. Breath out, hands down to the mat. Foot steps back, high plank. Low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, 5 rounds of breath. Your body is starting to unlock itself, and so keep your breath going. It is better to breathe twice as much than not at all. Synchronize your breath to movement. Inhale, step or hop to the top. Exhale, forward fold. Chair pose, sink nice and low, arms overhead. As you shoot up to standing, hands by the sides. We have one more sun B to go, arms overhead. You'll take your chair pose as you sink nice and low, Utkatasana. Hold your chair. I'm here to encourage you as you trust your intuition through this next round. Chairs, drop your hands down to the floor, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Plant the palms, step back, high to low plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right leg leads, step through. Find warrior one, arms overhead. Hands drop down to the mat, step your right foot back, breathe in. High to low plank, exhale. You've got this. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, exhale. Left leg leads, step through between the hands. Warrior one, breathe in. Hands down to the mat, breathe out. Step the left foot back, breathe in. High to low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward dog, exhale. You're holding downward facing dog for 5 rounds of breath. Look, step or hop to the top of the mat, forward fold, breathe out. Sink low into your chair legs. Arms sweep overhead. I join you in chair, breathe in, stand up. Hands by the sides, breathe out. Roll up the wrists, the ankles. Meet me in a forward fold. Padangustasana. Take your 2-piece fingers, index and middle fingers, loop them around your big toes, press into the toenails, breathe in, folding forward on the exhale. Your new favorite number, 5 rounds of breath here. Release your toes. Take a halfway lift. Breathe in. Padahastasana. Slip your hands underneath your feet for gorilla pose, as we call it. Drop the head down to the mat. You'll see I have a very generous bend in my knees. I have very tight hamstrings. Be patient. 5 rounds. Hands slip out from the feet. A very, very slow rise up to standing. Hands will come to heart center. Samastitihi. Right leg steps back. As you take a star-like pose, hands are nice and wide like a T. You'll take triangle pose. Right toe turns. Breathe in. Hinge forward. Breath out for Trikonasana. If you'd like to use a block, you're welcome to do so. This is your range of motion. You're doing great in your triangle pose. May you continue to press your left foot down into the floor. We open the side body. Tight core. Breathe in, come back to center. Turn the left toes forward. When you breathe out, triangle pose on the left side. Back to center we go, arms wide like a T. Again, into the right leg, we will be taking a twisted triangle, if you will. Lead with your left hand. Go ahead and bring it down to the outside edge of your foot or to a block. Press the palm into what you can. Right hand lifts. I'll be holding on to my hip, then start to look to the right. Nice flat tabletop backs. 3, 2, and 1. Finish your 5 rounds of breath. Meet in your star. Burst open. Left side this time. Your right hand will lead. As you exhale, right hand down to the left side of your foot. Block. Left hand onto the hip or reaching up to the sky. Just a little bend in your knee if you feel like you are flexing the knee and feeling a lot of tension. Be proud of your awareness, even if you're noticing what you don't like and what doesn't work for you. 3, 2, and 1. Release the pose, find star, burst open. Step or hop to the top of the mat, Samastitihi. Right foot leads, open on up nice and wide. We set up with warrior 2 legs. Arms nice and wide like a T. Look over your right little finger, breathe in. An extended side angle as you breathe out. Again, your hand is on the outside of your foot. Left hand nice and high. Look up. Keep breathing. You guessed it. 5 rounds of breath. Star pose. Burst open. Turn into the left leg. No rush. Left side. Exhale. Extended side angle. A scoop of the tailbone. Sink nice and low into your left leg. Hold yourself accountable. 3, 2, And 1, back to your star pose. Again, we're turning into the right leg. I'd call this a twisted warrior 1. Go ahead and lunge deeply into your right leg. Lead with your left hand. Bring it to the outside edge of your foot. If that doesn't work for you, hands at heart center, take a twist to the right. Suck in the belly. We use our inhales to come out of the pose, twist back to center. Go ahead and switch sides. You've got warrior 1 in your left leg. Lead with your right hand. See what you can do as you breathe out to take your twist. Mimic the same depth that you took on the other side. If you modify on one side, today you are modifying on the other side too. Off you go. Take your twist. Twist back to center, find your star pose first. A little bend in your right leg to gracefully hop to the top of the mat, Samastitihi. Right away, open up, nice wide stance. We take Prasarita Padottanasana. Take a breath in, press the hips forward. As you exhale, hands drop down to the floor for this first round. Palms are face down. Imagine the crown of your head dropping down to the floor. Pick a sustainable stance as we will be in Prasarita for over 20 rounds of breath. Sustainable. Maintainable, right? Keep your Prasarita legs to safely come out of the pose. Bring your hands onto your hips. As you breathe in, stand up nice and tall. Open mouth. Breath in, puff up the chest. Hands free. Keep your hands on your hips. Prasarita Padottanasana. A bit more trust and intuition in this pose as you hinge forward. As you exhale, drop the head all the way. Keep your Prasarita legs going. Inhale, back up to your standing. And open mouth, breath out. Arms sweep overhead, breathe in. Clasp the hands behind you. Exhale. Puff up the chest, breathe in. Prasarita Padottanasana for this round. A little bend in your knees. Drop your head down to the floor and lift your hands as high as you can off of your back. Imagine your hands reaching up and overhead and touching the floor. Cool, calm, and collected. The tighter your grip in your hands, the more support you will have coming up. Use your hands, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Breath in to rise. Release the hands. Arms sweep overhead. Take a breath in. Hands drop down to the toes. Reach for the big toes. Drop your head down to the floor. We have 5 rounds
rounds of breath in this pose. Press your thumbs into the tops of your toenails. To come out of the pose, hands onto your hips, slowly rise. We're doing great. Little bend in your right leg, step or hop to the top of the mat, samastitihi. Feel the effects of the pose. You'll be taking reverse prayer. Go ahead and bring your hands behind you and press your palms together to touch. If you need a different variation, just create a basket with your hands. From the top of your mat, right foot steps open. Go ahead and turn to the back of the mat. Keep your reverse prayer. Take a breath in. Pyramid pose as you keep your very long spine and lean, fold forward. Keep pressing the hands together. Your breath will unlock your spine. Breath in to stand. Turn the feet. You guessed it, we're headed to the left foot. Find your pyramid legs. Recalibrate the hands. The wrist should not be in pain here. Pain-free, yes, sensational, but no to pain. As you exhale, lower on down. First we rise, then we turn towards our star. You'll release your palms nice and easy. Step or hop to the top of the mat, samastitihi. Roll out the wrists if you need. They can be pretty tender after that series. We have our standing head to knee pose. Utthita Hasta Parangustasana. Your left foot stays on the floor, your right foot lifts. Reach for what you can. Start with the big toe. Keep a bend in your knee if you need. Extend the leg out nice and long. I'll be holding on to my left hip. Little bend in your standing leg. Next, we open the leg off to the right. You'll notice I have a bend in my knee for my hamstrings. Nice long spine. Work towards a straight leg. Look to the left. Look to center, bring your leg back to center, fold up and over the leg, try to kiss your knee. Do not tap down, hold on to your hips, kick your right leg out nice and long. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the leg, shake it out. Seal your right foot to the floor. This is called Padabandha. It's the foot lock, the suction cup that your foot is making on the floor. Start with your left leg, reach for the toe. We're extending the left leg out as long as you can. One hand on your right hip. Each inhale is an opportunity for you to stand a bit taller, to straighten that knee. We're going to be opening the leg off to the left, and your eyes are going to travel to the right. Take it away. 5 rounds of breath. We did not come to yoga to rush. Smile on your face because you're so happy to be here. Welcome to Ashtanga. Eyes back to center. Stick your left leg out nice and long. Let's hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your foot to the floor. Bring your hands to heart center. At the top of the mat we go. Next we have our standing half lotus. You'll keep your left foot on the floor. Bring the right edge of your foot into your hip crease. Start here. Building on, your right hand will travel behind you as you try to reach for your foot. Reach for what you can. Dig your heel into your pelvic bone, and we take a forward fold. I'm using the support of a block today. You could also certainly use a chair. Start to drop your head down onto the floor. We rise on the inhale. Little bend in the standing leg. Slowly release your right leg. Take any movement that you might need. We switch sides. Right leg's your standing leg. Left edge of the foot into your hip crease. Find half lotus. Ardha Padmasana. Left hand will lead. Reach behind you. Try to grab onto your big toe to the sole of the foot. Little bend in your standing leg. We have a journey to take. Your heel is digging into your digestion. Start to drop the head. We rise to standing, breath ins to do so. Straighten the spine, release the foot down to the floor. Samastitihi. Arms sweep overhead, breathe in. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift, breathe in. Plant the palms, hide a low plank, exhale. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, breathe in. Take your downward facing dog as you breathe out. Right foot steps through between the hands. Warrior 1, arms sweep overhead, press the palms together to touch. This is a fun one. Look up towards the sky. Now, straighten your right leg. Keep looking at your hands as you start to turn. Your right toes will turn to the left. Your left toes will keep turning as you start to face the other side of the room. We set up for Warrior 1. Do your best. Look up. Breathe in. Warrior 2, as you exhale. Open up nice and wide like a T. Virabhadrasana. 5 rounds of breath. Left leg long, switch out the feet. Now your left leg is taking Warrior 2. Lunge deeply into the right leg. I'll see you here, Virabhadrasana. Hands will cartwheel down to the mat. Let's take our vinyasa flow. Step your right foot back. Breathe in. High to low plank as you exhale. Chaturanga, upward facing dog. Breathe in. Downward facing dog as you breathe out. Great work, yogis. We're dropping down to the knees and heading into staff pose, Dandasana. As we start to head into our seated series, stick your legs out nice and long. I think I have a page to turn. We're making progress. Staffs, flex the toes towards you. Why is this pose called staff? Imagine a candy cane. From the root of your core, you'll lift up, breathe in, and your chin is the tip of your candy cane. As you exhale, hands down to the mat, look down, and hold. And Paschimottanasana. Take your peace fingers, reach for your big toes. Start with a halfway lift, back nice and long. I have a nice little bend in my knees. As you exhale, take your fold, 5 rounds of breath. This is a great time for you to catch your breath, especially if you are a bit winded. This is a great time because I told you about Chaturanga City. It's coming up, so keep that breath of fire going if you need to release heat. Open mouth. If you're holding your heat in, you're comfortable, you're sweating, you want to keep it up, Ujjayi Pranayama. Halfway lift, release the toes. Paschimottanasana B. Reach for the edges of your feet. Inhale. Forward fold as you exhale. And the fullest variation for Paschimottanasana C is for you to take a bind around the soles of your feet. Because I can't reach past my feet, I'm going to take my favorite variation, which was looping my big toes, find a forward fold, and take a breath out. If you're able to hold your wrists on the back side of your feet, be very gentle with your grip of life, a tender clench as you hold on to your arm. Then you'll find your halfway lift, release the toes, and we get ready for our sun salutations. What you'll do is you'll cross at your ankles, you'll come onto the hands, shoot back into your high plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward facing dog, breathe in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Get out of my way, block. We're stepping on through between the hands. Bend in the knees, cross at the ankles, find your forward fold. From here, we take reverse tabletop. Walk your hands behind you, middle fingers point towards the front of your mat. Extend your legs out nice and long. Press into your heels. Off we go. Throat to the sky. Last round of breath, unclench the teeth and release into your seat. Cross at the legs, check in with your breath. We must not take our sun salutations while holding the breath. Hands down to the mat, high plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Chaturanga, upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Take a bend in the knees, step or hop, find your seat, and we see each other here. Left leg nice and long. You're taking half lotus. Right edge of your foot comes into the hip crease. Building on. Start to reach your right hand behind you. Try to hold on to that toe. If you don't have that toe, that's okay. Just turn towards the front and take a gentle forward fold. Let's say you feel like you're hyperextending your knee on the floor here, you're not alone. You can take a little bend in your knee, you can slip a block underneath your knee. Lots of yogis enjoy this as a prop. We do take a sun salutation in between each side. So sit up tall, ditch any props, bend at your left knee, and we step back. High plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog, exhale. Step hop into your seat. See you there. Right leg will stay out nice and long. Left edge of the foot into your hip crease. Start in half lotus. Reach your left hand behind you. Try to grab onto the big toe. If you have the toe, turn forward, breathe in. Forward fold as you exhale. You may keep your foot in your hip crease as you release. Bend at your right knee, press into the palms, step back, high plank. Low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Bend at your knees, let's take a seat. From here, we'll be taking what I would call a one-legged fixed firm. Left leg nice and long, your right knee will bend, get your calf out of the way, and have your right knee face forward. Take an inhale. As you breathe out, forward fold. Lots of lovely stretches going on. Check in that you have circulation in your ankle, that you're not in pain, and that there's a little bend in this knee while you're flexing your left toe. Be realistic with yourself. If you are truly winded and it's going to compromise your alignment, skip your vinyasa. What you'll do is release your fold, stick your leg out long, you'll stay here. Yogis in high plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Chaturanga Dandasana. We lead to downward facing dog as you exhale. Step through between the hands. Find your seat. Right leg extends out nice and long. Left foot finds fixed firm. Bend at your knee. Calf out of the way. Proud to be here. Broaden through the chest. Inhale, forward fold as you exhale. Sit up tall. Now we're ready to flow. Tuck the legs behind you. Find your high plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward facing dog. Breath is in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Again, find your seat. Take your down dog slowly into the floor. And from here, your left leg will extend out nice and long, your right sole of the foot into the calf or the thigh, right? This is Janu Shirshasana. So if you're in pain, foot further away. If you feel just fine, heel into the pelvic floor as you breathe out, we fold. Sit up tall first, we're ready to flow. Find your hands, find your moving meditation, and guide yourself through. Look where you're going, find your speck on the floor, bend at the knees, hop, find Janu Shirshasana on the other leg, right leg nice and long, left sole of the foot into your thigh, turn towards the leg, breathe in, we fold forward on the exhale. How we choose to do anything is how we choose to do everything. May you choose to be mindful and patient as you go through this set sequence. We must go to the beat of our own drum. We must go nice and slow so that we can pay attention, so that we can prevent injury. And just like that, we pop out. Cross at the ankles, high plank, breathe in, low plank. Exhale, upward facing dog, breath is in, downward facing dog. As you exhale, down dogs, generous bend in the knees, find your seat, extend your left leg out in front of you. Right sole of the foot is going to stay on the floor. From here, you're going to hinge forward. You're going to try and wrap your right arm around your left. But if you see, my booty cheek is coming off the floor and it must stay. So for me, I'm going to hold on to my knee and round to forward fold. If you're able to take your bind, your left hand is gripping behind you. A very lovely pose, so long as your shoulders aren't in pain. Release the pose, cross at the ankles, find your high plank, breathe in, wide hands, low plank, exhale. Upward facing dog, your breath is in, and downward facing dog as you exhale. We build on, find your seat, stick your right leg out nice and long. We take the same pose on the other side. So you will reach forward. If your left hand is able to go behind you, your right hand will reach and you'll take your bind. But today I am modifying, so knee up to the sky, breath out, you'll fold. Release your fold, cross at your ankles, high plank, breathe in, low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in, downward facing dog, exhale. Step or hop, we see you in a seat, we build on. Similar to what we've taken before, first your right leg is going to come into half lotus, and then you're going to bend at your left knee. So it might take a few goes for you to get comfy. Go ahead and bend at the knee, find your seat, Once you have your half lotus, you're reaching forward. Left hand can reach behind you. Same bind that we took before, but I'm gonna stay here because this is a great stretch for my shin. I feel plenty of sensation right here. Go ahead and look down. We release the pose. Untangle your legs the best way that you see fit. Take your vinyasa flow, breathe in. High to low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog, breath is in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Hop through to your seat. From here, we take our similar pose. Left edge of the foot comes into your hip crease, and now the right sole of the foot comes onto the floor. You're gonna try and keep both sits bones on the floor in this pose. It takes some finagling. You'll start to reach forward. If you're able to take a bind, go for it. I'm gonna go ahead and drop forehead into the knee. Your heel is actively digging into your digestion. And release your fold. Untangle the legs. Find your high plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward facing dog, breathe in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Drop down to the knees. Stick your legs out in front of you. We build on. Left leg will stay nice and long. Right edge of the foot on the floor as we take a twist. For this bind, many yogis are able to loop their arm around their backside. I'll be modifying today. If you need to as well, right hand on the floor, left elbow to the edge of your knee. Nice wide starfish palm. Look behind you. Release your twist, take your flow, high plank, breathe in, low plank, chaturanga, up dog, breathe in, downward facing dog as you exhale, drop on down, we switch out sides, we find symmetry. So, right leg nice and long, left edge of the foot onto the floor. Your right elbow comes to the left side of your knee. Let's twist. And back to center we go. Take your flow, hands plant to the mat, high plank, inhale, low plank, exhale, upward facing dog, breathe in, downward facing dog as you exhale. Let's take boat pose. Drop on down to a seat. We do take a few rounds of Navasana. I hate to even tell you how many. We take 5. And so you will hold boat pose for 5 rounds of breath. You will not set your legs down in between as you do your best. Join me here. Feet out in front of you. This first couple rounds I'll use my hands as support. Hands onto the back of the thighs. I will get winded with you. Boat pose. Find your long legs. After your 5th round of breath, press into your hands. Imagine lifting yourself off of the floor. And then back into your boat pose. Hold on to the backs of the thighs or reach your arms out in front of you. This is Navasana. Nice long spine. And let's take a lift. Press into the hands. Imagine lifting yourself off the mat. Find your boat pose. It's our 3rd round. For this variation, I'm going to take a bind underneath my thighs. Start to straighten your legs nice and long. This is our boat. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift yourself off the mat. Breathe in. Press. Exhale, boat pose, 4th round, arms out in front of you. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Cross at the ankles, press into the hands. You've got this. Build endurance. Find your boat pose. Our fullest expression. Straighten the legs. The shakes prove how hard we are working. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands to the mat. Try to lift yourself off the floor and settle yourself on down. I wish I could demo this next pose, but it's a little funky. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to place your hands in between your tangled legs and see if you're able to lift yourself up off of the mat. A playful rock, back and forth. Imagine hovering yourself over your hands, trying to lift your feet off of the floor. 3, 2, and 1. Settle yourself on down. Let's flow. High plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward dog. Breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Drop down to the knees. Stick your legs in front of you, nice and wide like a V. From here, we're taking a forward fold. If you're able to slip your arms underneath your knees, now is a great time to do so. I'm somewhere in between, so my hands will stay right about here. Really active feet. Breathe in. Head drops down to the floor, Kurmasana. You'll release your fold. Now from here, you'll just stick your head, your feet behind your head, and end up like a pretzel, no problem. Okay, since most of us cannot take our foot and whip it behind our head, I'm not quite there yet. Keep your left leg with a nice bent knee. We'll do what's called backpacking. You're gonna hold on to your right foot and you're gonna start to push your knee back. You're gonna imagine that you're setting your leg, your calf, on top of your shoulder. This is a great place to start if you're looking to keep your feet behind your head, right? So go ahead and take a little backpack with your right leg and we'll hold. And then we'll switch sides. Gently set your right leg down. Switch them out. Your left leg is now going for a ride. Hold on to the edge of your foot. Press the knee back. A little bit of movement. Imagine that you're wearing your leg as a strap. We hold. Let's flow. Release the leg, plant the palms, high plank, inhale. low plank, exhale.
Upward facing dog, take a breath in. Downward facing dog as you exhale.
This next pose, as you drop down to your knees, I like to call the twirly bird. However, it's not called the twirly bird, but what we will be doing is taking lotus pose. As you've noticed, I have pretty tight quarters in here. So instead of taking the full 360 turn that I'm going to try and describe to you, go ahead and check out your surroundings. See that you have some space. You're going to create lotus legs first. One edge of the foot into your hip crease and vice versa. From here, you're going to slip your hands between your calf and your thigh. I'm about halfway there. So what you're looking for is once you get to the elbow crease of one arm, you're going to lift it up towards your face. Imagine that you're able to set your chin into your loving hands. Next arm will start to lace through. Just do your best. See, I've got maybe part of my left arm in there. That's just fine. I'm going to go ahead and hold on to the back of my thighs. So from here, we rock and roll in a ball in a 360 circle. And I just don't want to smack into everything. So what I'm going to do instead is go ahead and turn myself towards the front of the room. I'm going to take 4 rocks and rolls here, facing forward. Exhale, rock back, breathe in, rock up. Okay, take a few more. Imagine coming onto your hands, see what you can do. Hover yourself off of the floor, press into your fingertips. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Settle yourself down. You can try and keep your lotus legs to take your vinyasa. I like to walk my knees back a little bit. You'll press into your hands and slowly untangle those legs. High plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Up dog, breathe in. Down dog as you exhale. Look between the hands. Find your seat. I'll meet you in butterfly pose. Bring the edges of your feet together. Slide your hips and heels to one another. No forward fold yet. Stay here. Breathe in. Chin in towards the chest. Look down. Now we're ready to fold, look up, chin up to the sky. And as you exhale, you'll fold and you'll start to pull your feet open like a book. Imagine that you are reading the soles and they have quite the story to tell. Massage your feet, thank them for taking you where you need to go today. 5 rounds of breath. Sit up nice and tall, bring the knees together, let's flow. High plank, step back, low plank, exhale. Upward facing dog, take a breath in, and downward facing dog as you exhale. Find your seat. Again, nice wide stance. Go ahead and open up the legs. Start to reach for the toes. See what you can grab. This is as wide as you are able to go. You're going to hold on to your feet and come up into a seat, lifting your legs off the mat. If you need some help getting there, Me too. You're not alone. Bend at your knees until you're up nice and tall into your seat. And then think boat pose with the legs nice and long. You can lift one and then the other. If your toes are a little too far out of reach, hold on to the backs of your thighs. We hold. 3, 2, and 1. So slow. Release your heels down to the floor and take a forward fold. Legs zip together to touch. Let's flow. Hands on the mat. High plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward facing dog. Take a breath in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Find your seat. We take our wide stance, but we'll be heading into plow pose with those wide legs. I have a ponytail to get out of my way. What you'll do is rock on back onto your spine and keep that nice wide V with your legs. As you come on up and over, hello chair. I think I'll use it as a prop today. Go ahead and reach for your feet. See what you can grab. Imagine your toes touching the floor. Tuck of the chin in towards the chest. Nice wide legs. Use your imagination. Back the way that you came. Try to balance on your sits bones. I'm going to keep a bend in my knees, rocking up to your seat. See if you can extend your legs out nice and long. Great work, yogis. We're in this together. Cross at your legs. Step back. High plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Yay, we get to head on down to our back for a moment. Go ahead and find your spine. I'm going to be practicing with a strap to hold on to my foot for these next few poses. If you don't have a strap, just grab a hand towel. That will work just fine. Head on down to the mat. Loop that strap around your right foot. Start here, left leg's nice and long. For 5 rounds of breath, your head will be lifted off of the floor. Off we go. Set the head down and open the leg off to the right. If your foot can rest on the floor, that's where it's working towards. But if your leg is hovering like me, that's just fine. Just be sure that you're anchored accordingly, and we surrender. Legs comes back to center before we release. One final hug. Forehead in towards the leg. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And release the foot down to the mat. Notice if it feels longer than the other. You're going to switch out the legs. Left leg's coming up to the sky. Settle on in. Leg up. Little tuck of your tailbone. Let's do it. Breath in. Lift forehead in towards the knee. Think chaturanga arms. Instead of your arms out and wally, go ahead and reel them into the sides. Happy to be here. 3, 2, and 1. Set your head down to the floor. Open the leg off to the left. back to center we go. Bring your forehead in towards your knees. Take a tight squeeze. 3, 2, and 1. Release the foot. Let's ditch our strap. Nice long full body stretch. As you exhale, hug your knees in towards the chest. Start to rock and roll. Pick up some momentum here. Hands onto the mat. Step back to high plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward facing dog. Breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Drop down to the knees. Stick your legs out in front of you. For this variation of boat pose, I'm going to use my strap. Imagine you're holding on to your big toes. So if you're able to reach your big toes, hold on to those instead. You'll see I've got my toes flexed. Hands are pulling to the sides. Proud to be here. Shoulder blades retract as if you've got a pencil that you're squeezing between those blades. 3, 2, and 1. Release the pose. Let's flow. High plank. Breathe in. Low plank. Exhale. Upward dog. Breathe in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. Drop down to the knees. Legs swivel in front of you. Let's take a variation of fish pose with your feet on the floor. What you'll do is press into your elbows to lift yourself onto the top of the head. Again, ponytails out of the way, right? You'll go on up to the top of the head. Give yourself a hug. Reach your hands towards the back side of your rib cage. Point the toes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. To release, chin tucks in towards the chest. Arms sweep overhead. Breathe in. Knees in towards the chest. Breathe out. Start to rock and roll. Come up into your high plank. Inhale. Low plank. Exhale. Upward dog. Breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Down to the knees. Let's go ahead and take a quick intermission. We have our closing series to get to, a few inversions to take. I'm going to check on our camera and on my streamers here to make sure that you are still here. Yay, we're doing great. If you have made it this far, I congratulate you. I'm so happy to practice here with you today. On the agenda, our final few poses. We'll be taking wheel, we'll be taking some of our shoulder stands, a few fishes, and head into Shavasana. If you know that inversions aren't going to serve you well today, you're welcome to take a few supine twists and head into your Shavasana, but we're ready to head into a few more deep poses for the rest of class today. The first one is going to be wheel, Chakrasana. If you would prefer bridge pose, take a bridge instead. Don't worry about it. I'll see you on your spine. Head on down. Your hands will frame the face. Be sure that you're not stepping on your hair. Press into the feet. Start on the crown of your head to settle in for success. Find the top of the head. Starfish hands. Let's do it. Press into the palms. Wheel pose. Chin rounds in towards the chest. Come out of the pose. Bring your knees in. Rock and roll to the top of your mat. We've done this before. Find your high plank. Breathe in. Low plank as you exhale. Up dog. Breathe in. Down dog as you exhale. Drop down to the knees. Let's find our forward fold. Legs will swivel out in front of you. Reach for the toes. This is great for the low back. Let's head on down. Release your fold. If you've got another flow in ya, let's take it. High plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward dog, breathe in. Open mouth, downward facing dog. We're amazing. Find your seat. Join me here. Shoulder stand. Hair out of the way. Little tuck of the chin in towards the chest will serve you very well in this pose. Be sure you've got space for your legs behind you, my tall yogis. Shoulder stands. Toes up to the sky. You're leaning your feet back once you find your balance. Trust yourself. Walk your hands up the length of your spine. Feet drop down to the floor, plow pose. May your feet drop behind you and your hands can start to press down into the mat. You must imagine a clear and open channel of communication to stay safe here. You are one somersault away from coming out of the pose if you need it. Bend at your knees, deaf man's pose. Let your knees frame your ears. From here we find our lotus legs. You'll start to find one foot tangled with the other and start with this pretzel. Lotus legs can start. You're then working towards bringing your hands onto your knees. Straighten the arms, balance on the shoulders. We've got this. 5, 4, 3, 2. And 1. Bend the knees down towards the face. Take any support you might need, but keep these lotus legs going. This is one of my favorite hip openers. Try to keep your lotus legs with you. Bring your hands down to the mat. Rock out of this pose. Drop your knees down to the floor. Drop your head down to the mat. Bring your palms together to touch. Fish pose. Untangle the legs, point your toes in the same direction as your fingertips. 3, 2, and 1. Release your fish. Full body stretch. Breathe in. Knees in towards the chest. Let's build some momentum. We have a vinyasa to take. I am sure of it. High plank. Breathe in. Low plank as you exhale. Upward facing dog as you breathe in. And downward facing dog as you exhale. You'll drop down to your knees. And as I take my headstand, I won't be able to chat with you at the same time. You're working towards 10 rounds of breath in your headstand. 5 rounds of breath with your legs lowered. So I'm going to be pointing my toes towards this wall here. When you're finished, try to straighten your legs back up to headstand and then head into a child's pose. I'll let you know when I'm headed on down to child's pose. Those of you that don't want to flip upside down, I encourage a 15 round of breath downward facing dog. And I know it doesn't sound like the most fun thing in the world to do, but oh, you will have the most fulfilling shavasana. So let's flip upside down. Measure the size of your forearms, bring them down to the mat, create a basket with your hands, and gingerly, lovingly hold on to your head.
Press your booty back as you lower halfway. You should be able to see your toes. Straighten the legs, headstands. Child's pose. Let's come on down. Feet down to the mat, nice wide stance. Hands will reach out in front of you. High plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Up dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Let's take another round of breath here. Inhale, fill up. And open mouth. Take a seat. Go ahead and create your lotus legs. You've got Padmasana. As you take your lotus, from here you're going to try and reach for your toes. I can grab one foot at a time, but not both. So what I'm going to do is just hold on to opposite elbow. Make sure that your knees have some cushion so that you can fold forward. Exhale as you imagine your chin tapping the floor. Release your fold. Take Gyan Mudra. One palm will rest on top of each thigh. Your index and thumb fingers to touch. Suck in the stomach. Take a breath in. Chin in towards the chest. Look down at your belly. Talasana. Hands will come down in front of you. I like a little bit of momentum with this pose, so I'll lift my knees up, place my hands in front of me. When you rock forward, you'll inhale and press into the hands. Release the pose. Our final sun salutation, we will be coming up to standing. Meet me in high plank, breathe in. Low plank, exhale. Upward facing dog, breathe in. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Find yourself to the top of the mat, breathe in. Fold forward, exhale. Arms sweep overhead, breathe in. Hands to heart center, breath out. May your blood run through you, purified, clean, and at ease. We take an Om together. Start by clearing your throat. Then we'll breathe in together. Inhale. Tuck and curl into a small ball. Guide yourself into your Shavasana. Legs extend out nice and long. Palms turn face up. Corpse pose.
Return to consciousness. Give yourself about 10 rounds of breath to meet me in a seat at the top of the mat. Sukhasana. May you be able to take this peaceful and moving meditation with you for the rest of your day. The light and the teacher in me is so honored to guide the teacher, the light in you, as we bow forward. Namaste. Thanks, friends. As always, I am so grateful for you holding me accountable to my practice, as the last time I practiced Ashtanga, I was at a very pivotal chapter of my life, and how refreshing it is to be requested to record one of these classes in such a strange pandemic time, right? So it's time to let your hair loose and congratulate yourself for guiding yourself through this journey with me. Thank you so much. Have a great day.